Hello, beloved. How are you? My name is Syma, and I'm an international spiritual coach, healer, yoga teacher, author, speaker, and goddess guide. And today I would love to talk to you about one of my favorite topics, which is how to deal with really dark, hard, challenging times in life, which really are times of transformation for us. And I would love to share with you a spiritual, but more importantly, a sacred feminine perspective and approach for how we can deal with these times in our life, right? So I do a lot of client work, and obviously, I'm helping my clients through challenges. And often, of course, what I find is that when one thing falls apart, everything's falling apart for my clients, as it's happened in my own life, and which is why I've been able to do the work that I do and continue to be really honest with the work that I do, because we somehow are always going through some kind of transformation in our life. And if we're not the goddess Kali, will make sure that we are. So I want to talk to you a little bit about today, just how to see the most challenging times of your life when it seems like nothing is working, and really as if your relationships, your job, your work, your money, your home, everything's falling apart. What does it mean? And how can we surrender to that process in a trusting and empowered way to really rise above it like the phoenix from the ashes, instead of letting it just completely burn us and suffer for it, right? Because these are also the most powerful times of our lives. So from a sacred feminine perspective, this is when the goddess Kali is present in our life. So what is Kali? Kali is the goddess of, at first appearance, she may look like a goddess of death and destruction. So in a couple of my oracle and tarot cards, these are some of her images. Hopefully you can see them. And she just dances around, tongue hanging out, garland of skulls around her neck, sword, and just ready to dance without abandon, her dance of destruction. And it can seem completely chaotic when she comes into our life. It can seem like everything is just going crazy, and no matter what we're doing, and in fact it can seem like the harder we're trying to have a sense of control over things, the more things are getting crazier and out of our control. And so although at first appearance Kali as a goddess, as a metaphor, can seem very scary and merciless, she's actually a goddess of the utmost and benevolent love. And she shows up in our life when we need a rude awakening, a wake-up call. So it's also in the tarot when we have the death card, which is not so much death. People might see the card and it's a stark and scary image, but what it means is it's a time of profound change in our life, and it means that it's a time of shedding the old, shedding what no longer serves us. And in this particular card deck that I have, she shows up, Kali shows up as the death card, which is change, which is when the things in our life that we have been maybe holding on to and outgrown, we're still being complacent and going to that job every day, even though it no longer feels joyful, or worst case scenario, it actually brings us a lot of anxiety and completely is not in alignment with who we are. Or a relationship, where we are in it, but we maybe are in it because we fear being alone, not necessarily because we're in love with that person or that the relationship is healthy and honoring us. So Kali shows up where if we don't listen to our intuition, normally in our life we will get intuitive signs, look for another job or get those red flags in a relationship, and we tend to ignore them. We tend to let sometimes our fear take over, or other people's ideas of what we should do take over. And when we don't listen to the signs along the way, sometimes we get the crazy, chaotic transformation where things are just out of our control and they're happening in a way where it seems really unfair. But behind the veil is pure love and mercy for us. And this is a time of us really waking up to, have I been true to myself in all these situations? Are these situations really still serving me? And even if it feels really painful, like even if we get fired from a job that is our paycheck. I heard a story of Dr. Wayne Dyer, my beloved teacher, the late Dr. Wayne Dyer, meeting some people who had just been fired, I think at a radio station, and he was congratulating everyone. And they were saying, we just got laid off, why are you congratulating us? And he said, because now you can really focus on what you're meant to do, your true calling and your passion, right? So of course we need our paycheck and we need to have our finances and our responsibilities taken care of. However, when things fall apart, there's usually a much higher purpose if we're willing and ready to step up and to ask, what would you have me know? What do I need to know during this time? So this is just to reassure you that if you are in a time right now that feels extremely challenging and you just feel like you can't take it anymore, please know that there is a higher purpose for it, and really start, instead of resisting it, why me? Ask it from a different perspective, like why? Why me? Why is this happening? Is this really something that if I'd continued to say that it was, I would have been completely happy with the rest of my life? Was it really serving me? Was it truly honoring me? What's the blessing in the situation? What is this here to teach me, to show me? How can I grow? Kali also helps to just liberate us from everything that's not serving us. So she's the liberator, and when she's done with us, we know who we are if we allow ourselves to take on the spiritual assignment, because when we go through all these crazy challenges at the same time, it's a spiritual assignment. It's a time of transformation. It's the phoenix rising from its ashes. We have that opportunity to become new. In alchemy, it's a process of the blackening, that when you want to turn lead into gold, first you need the hottest fire to blacken, to burn, and to separate, the pure matter from false. And so when we have Kali, and in this particular tarot deck, I also have the goddess Pele that shows up in the tower position. And her message here is purifier. And how beautiful is that? That Pele being the goddess of volcanoes, the Hawaiian goddess of volcanoes, the lava of the volcano, when it erupts, it is uncontrollable. It is a force of nature. It is wrathful. It is just explosive, and yet this is the sacred feminine way of transformation. And when the lava cools, the soil is so black and rich and so ready to plant new seeds and to create new life. And so we want to embrace these challenging times with a sense of, what do I need to shed? What needs to be burnt away in my life, so that only what's truly pure, what's the truth of who I am, is what remains. And that really is a lesson. And the more we resist it, it's very likely that we're going to keep repeating the cycle. So the best thing that we can do is embrace it and say, okay, I surrender and I welcome this transformation and all that it wants me to become. And I'm ready and willing to rise up and to say yes to the not just the new me, but the true me, the true you, who is infinitely worthy, valuable, brilliant, lovable, empowered, supported, and abundant and creative. And every solution lies within you. Every answer is within you. Everything that you seek outside is already within you. So yes, mourn the loss of anything you've experienced. Grieve, feel the wrath, that eruption of the volcano that we have with Pele here. Feel it. Have a healthy way of processing it. I always give an assignment of writing it all out and burning it, anything that you need to release and let go of, as a symbol of that transformation, right? But the burning, the fire is really, really helpful and healing, and it transmutes. So that's a really powerful ritual that if you decide to do, please do it very safely. But this transformation is the time for you to really step up and rise up into who you truly are. And like I was saying with the tarot perspective, when the tower makes everything fall apart, only the things that were built on false foundations or old beliefs that no longer serve you fall apart. So for example, if you get fired from a job, but you were only in that job because of the status or what you perceive to be the security, the title, that was never really your truth, your spiritual truth. So if it falls apart, it's a time for you to ask yourself, who am I without this job? Who am I without this relationship? Who am I without my home? Who am I without those friends? Who am I? And you'll find the answer. And that's what Kali as a liberator wants you to face, who you truly are, to face your deepest fears, to face your deepest demons, and to slay them with that inner warrior goddess badass attitude that you have. Pele wants you to purify, to build a new foundation, to plant new seeds on fertile new soil. And as you embrace the transformation and let go of what no longer serves you without resisting it, again, mourn your losses, grieve, feel the wrath, but have a way for moving forward. Trust that even if right now it feels like you can't control anything, you can return home and you can say, I'm ready. whatever you wish for me, I trust that there's a higher purpose behind this, and coming to a place of graceful acceptance and surrender. So I would love to share with you some tips on what you can do. In addition to that is Persephone. So we're in November right now as I shoot this video, and the fall and winter are a time where the goddess Persephone goes into the underworld. And what this symbolizes for us is a time to retreat and to go within the underworld, representing the unconscious, the subconscious, our deepest fears again. And in psychology, in psychotherapy, this is also what we deal with. Freud's, the tip of the iceberg is the conscious, and then beneath the ocean is the unconscious. So this is where we want to do our healing. And in order to do that, we really need to retreat. And a couple of more goddesses that come through really strongly in terms of how we can do that are the Gnostic goddess Siege, which is the goddess of nothingness, the goddess of stillness, and the void through which all things are birthed. So it's really a time of just surrendering, letting go, and going within when everything outside of you is in complete transformation. Because really the transformation is also happening on the inside for you. And it's a gift, it's the most loving gift that the loving Mother Kali, the universe, Father, Mother, God can give to us. But I know that when it's happening, it does not feel that way, and it's really hard to feel that love. But please go within, right? Meditate, retreat, create sacred space. So Nimitona is another goddess, a Celtic goddess of sacred spaces. So what I highly recommend is if you can make a beautiful ritual for yourself, create a sacred space where you can go and you can journal about everything. If you need to continuously release safely, burning whatever you're journaling, and just taking radical self-care. And the final goddess I want to bring in is my goddess. I'm a Taurus, so I'm ruled by Aphrodite, Venus, the goddess of ultimate self-love. Yes, she's a goddess of sexuality and passion and sensuality and romantic love, but first and foremost, Aphrodite is a goddess of self-love. So this is one thing I love to teach with my clients, in my sacred feminine and goddess sessions and works and programs, is this whole journey of the sacred feminine is a process of surrendering, transformation, and during that transformation to go within, to create sacred space on the outside so we can really embrace and connect with the sacred space within, which will help us to connect with our inner wisdom and those divine spiritual lessons that we are meant to learn. Because from a spiritual perspective, all these challenges our soul already in a way signed up for, because it said, okay, in this lifetime I must learn these big soul lessons. And so we sign up for these assignments so that we can stay on track and stay on the path. And when we maybe don't pay attention, we get these really hard lessons where it's like, come on, we really want you to live your life purpose and to have the love and the abundance and the joy and the fulfillment and the spiritual and material riches that we all deserve. And so we can get these rude awakenings and wake-up calls that in truth are benevolent, loving times of transformation for us. And so please take really excellent care of yourself, nurture yourself, get support. This is a really great time of going within and at the same time of getting support. So have your tribe around you, or if you don't have one, create one. I used to, when I started my work, I created a meetup group, Flourishing Goddess, in Toronto, which a lovely friend is still continuing. So you can create community and you can create a support group for yourself. But it's really essential to get support. To work with a coach like myself, if you feel connected and guided, is extremely, extremely helpful. You don't have to go it alone. And of course, you always have angels and goddesses, your higher self, and so many benevolent heavenly helpers supporting and guiding you on your path, and the light of your own soul lighting the way. And that's really what this time is about, is to reconnect with your own divine truth and light up your life, and to elevate every part of your life, every part that's falling apart now. Be willing and ready to just let it go and trust that through this transformational process, you are going to rise up like the phoenix from its own ashes and embrace an incredibly beautiful new beginning, and you'll be able to actively co-create that as you're empowered with all the strength and resilience and grace and faith and spiritual strength that you find during this challenging time. So my prayers are with you. I have so many tools and resources on my website to continue to support you. I also have an amazing article, Embracing Kali, the Goddess of Harsh Transformations, that I published with Elephant Journal. I'll leave a link for you in the comments, in the description for you to grab if you'd like to get some further insight and support and guidance on how to get through these tough times. But I know that you can do it, and I know this is a blessing in disguise. So I hope that you will trust the process and really embrace it to become who you truly are and to live the life that you're truly meant to, beloved. Thank you so much for joining me. I look forward to serving you. All my love. Namaste.